Hey there, bookworms and brainiacs. Welcome back to Past the Usual. You know how we're all about cutting through the noise and getting to the good stuff? Well, today we're arming you with the ultimate BS detector. We're diving deep into the world of logical fallacies. These sneaky argument tactics are everywhere, from political debates to your Aunt Carol's Facebook rants. But once you learn to spot them, you'll be amazed how quickly you can separate the solid arguments from the, well, not so solid ones. So buckle up, because things are about to get logical up in here. First up, we've got the classic ad hominem fallacy. This is Latin for to the person, and it's exactly what this fallacy does. Instead of actually addressing the argument someone is making, the ad hominem focuses on attacking the person making it. Think of it like this. Let's say you're debating the merits of a 4-day work week. Someone against it might say, well, you're just lazy and don't want to work a full week. See what happened there? They completely ignored your actual argument and went straight for a personal attack. Not cool, right? That's ad hominem in action. Next up is the appeal to authority fallacy. Now, it's important to listen to experts, right? But the problem arises when we blindly accept an argument just because someone famous or important said it, even if they aren't an authority on that specific topic. Imagine your favorite celebrity, who happens to be a fantastic actor, starts promoting a new brand of toothpaste that claims to cure the common cold. Just because they're great at acting doesn't make them a medical expert. Always question whether the authority being cited is actually qualified to speak on the subject. Ever heard the phrase, jump on the bandwagon? Well, that's essentially what the bandwagon fallacy is all about. It's the idea that if a lot of people believe something, it must be true. Think about those products with marketing campaigns that boast millions sold. Just because something is popular doesn't automatically make it true, right? Millions of people used to think the earth was flat, and well, we've learned since then that popularity isn't exactly the most reliable indicator of truth. Chapter 4. Circular reasoning, going round and round in circles. This fallacy is like a dog chasing its tail. It just goes in circles without actually getting anywhere. With circular reasoning, the conclusion is simply a restatement of the premise, offering no real evidence or support. Imagine someone arguing that a particular news source is unreliable because it always publishes fake news. But when you ask them to prove the news is fake, they respond with, well, it's from that news source, so it must be fake. See the circularity? They're using the claim itself as evidence, which gets us nowhere. Chapter 5. False dilemma, when two options just aren't enough. The false dilemma fallacy, also known as false dichotomy, tries to box you into a corner by presenting only two options, when in reality, there are often many more possibilities. It's like saying, you're either with us or against us. This ignores the whole spectrum of opinions and stances that can exist between those two extremes. Life is rarely black and white. So, when you encounter an argument that oversimplifies a complex issue into just two opposing sides, remember to look for those shades of gray in between. Chapter 6. Hasty generalization, jumping to conclusions, not the fun kind. We've all been guilty of this one at some point. The hasty generalization fallacy involves making a sweeping statement based on very limited evidence. It's like meeting one person from a certain city and concluding that everyone from that city must be exactly the same. For example, imagine you try a new restaurant for the first time, and the service is terrible. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, this restaurant is awful. The service is always terrible here. But you've only had one experience, right? Maybe it was just an off day. Chapter 7. Moral equivalence, comparing apples and, well, toxic waste. This fallacy attempts to draw a comparison between two things that are not remotely comparable in terms of their severity or impact. It's like saying that forgetting to take out the trash is the moral equivalent of committing a serious crime. Sure, both actions might have consequences, but to equate them is a bit of a stretch, wouldn't you say? Always consider the scale and context of the things being compared. Chapter 8. Slippery slope, The domino effect of doom. The slippery slope fallacy argues that one small action will inevitably lead to a chain of increasingly negative consequences, often ending in some catastrophic outcome. It's like saying that if we allow students to chew gum in class, it will lead to total anarchy in the classroom, and eventually, the collapse of civilization as we know it. While it's important to consider potential consequences, the slippery slope fallacy takes it to an extreme, often without providing any real evidence to support the claim that one event will inevitably lead to another. Chapter 9. Red herring, distracting you from the real issue. Picture a magician using misdirection to pull off a trick. That's kind of what the red herring fallacy does in an argument. It introduces an irrelevant topic or point to distract from the real issue at hand. Imagine you're debating the environmental impact of single-use plastics, and someone says, well, what about all the jobs that will be lost if we ban plastic bags? While job losses are a valid concern, they're not directly related to the environmental argument. The red herring is meant to shift the focus away from the original point. Chapter 10. Straw man, building an argument just to knock it down. And last but not least, we have the straw man fallacy. This one is a bit sneaky because it involves misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Imagine someone saying, we should invest more in renewable energy sources. A straw man response would be, so you're saying we should just shut down all the power plants and live in the dark ages? See how that twisted the original argument into something much more extreme and easier to argue against. That's the straw man in action. So there you have it, 10 common logical fallacies that can trip us up in our thinking. Remember, these fallacies are everywhere, in politics, social media, debates, and even our everyday conversations. But now that you're armed with the knowledge to spot them, you're well on your way to becoming a more critical thinker. Once you can identify these fallacies, you can start to see through the smoke and mirrors of misleading arguments and focus on the actual evidence and reasoning being presented. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of logical fallacies, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Past the Usual for more thought-provoking content. And let me know in the comments which fallacy you've encountered the most in your own life. Stay curious, stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video. Logical fallacies are everywhere, in politics, social media, debates, and even casual conversations. Once you can spot them, it's way easier to see who's arguing fairly and who's just playing games. If you liked this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and drop a comment below with a fallacy you've heard before. Stay curious, stay sharp, and stay past the usual.